The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. The best lack all conviction. The worst are full of passionate intensity.
What's happening, people? I'm not sure how you consume media and content off of YouTube these days, but personally, when I listen to music, it's typically ambient acoustic music unless it's classic hip-hop. And when I watch television and movies, I typically do so with the sound off, just for the visual stimulation. However, when I hear about a creator that puts a lot of time, energy, effort, skill, and thought into their work like Alex Garland does, I take note. So I'm discussing his limited run 8-episode series called DEVS here today. It's really a masterpiece, a master work of science fiction. It's the best thing, in my opinion, since The Matrix in terms of how it challenges our normal conception and assumptions about and with reality, including who we are, personal identity, all of these other philosophical, metaphysical, transcendental topics. I can't talk about it in depth or at depth without spoiling it, so please be warned. To discuss how well and how strongly this show challenges our normal conception of reality, I'm going to walk through several subverting concepts and ideas within the series in terms of their perceived importance.
What are you working on in the section of your company known as DEVS?
DEVS means development. Every tech company has a development division.
My Senate subcommittee on tech oversight has scheduled its hearing. I'm going to call you in, Forrest.
Why?
Your company didn't just take the lead in the quantum computer race. You demolished your competitors. They have nothing. You have everything. And I have questions.
Is that your leverage? Questions.
You don't think that's leverage? The distractions are trivial in comparison to your work?
Yes.
The first thing that the show highlights or details, in my opinion, is the growing power of multinational, international conglomerates and corporations. They're becoming so wealthy that they're beginning to rival the power that nation states, countries hold in terms of wealth, influence, and political and economic might. So I think we want to look at this personally because we are going to be facing a point in history, a point in human history and development pretty soon, where we're going to have to decide whether we're siding with a corporation or a nation. When a corporation is so powerful that it controls everything in our environment, our ecosystem, all of our finances, our social and cultural engagements, are we allegiant, are we beholden to the corporation that's taking care of us, or the nation that we're a citizen of, or the nation that we happen to be residing in? This is very important because traditionally, historically, we've defaulted to nations being more primary, more important than corporations, corporations being an entity, a legal being in a sense of a nation, a citizen of a nation in a sense, or a citizen of multiple nations if they're multinational. So we've normally typically placed the nation as a more fundamental and essential level of reality and existence, while the corporation was more superficial, more ephemeral, less real. However, corporations are becoming so mighty, so powerful, so influential that the gap is closing, and I think that's going to undermine, upset how we typically view reality, work, ourselves, and citizenry.
You joined my company, gained our trust, gained my trust, then stole my code on your James Bond wristwatch.
I don't know what you mean.
That would appear to be the result of some decisions, wouldn't it? About where you placed your allegiance, about who you would betray.
The second thing the show touches on, in my opinion, is the growing cold corporate war and how it effectively eliminates the privacy and security of any individual working for a multinational, international conglomerate. They're so powerful. They have so much information, so much data, so many assets, so much intellectual property, so many connections and resources these days that they are ripe targets for scrutiny, for surveillance and investigation by national security, national defense, and national intelligence agencies. And that, in my opinion, means that the people working for these corporations, these companies like Facebook, Amazon, Google, Uber, places like this, Apple, are now also vulnerable to investigation, interrogation, surveillance, and attacks. So the reality that we used to live in, where we're not in harm's way, we're not in jeopardy if we aren't doing anything, I think those days are over.
One of your professors is a friend of mine. She told me you're the best student she's had in years, perhaps ever.
That's nice.
She also told me your family can no longer cover your college fees. I want to pay for your college fees and offer you a job when you graduate.
Who are you? That's Jesus talking?
Tell him what you fucking did.
It's a cute party trick.
That's your response to what I've just achieved?
This is my response. You're fired. Lyndon, you'll get your DEVS separation pay. $10 million.
Did you bust it?
I can buy you a whole new home if you'd like.
Lyndon, you're 19 years old.
No, I can't walk away.
Einstein was 26 when he told us about relativity. You still got a bit of time.
But I have to be there. I'm the guy who cracked the problem. He's not a fucking genius, Stuart. He's an entrepreneur, and he's crazy.
The third subversion that I see, the exploitation of the world's brain trust, may not have been intended by the creators, but I see it undermining the reality that we used to live in, where smart people were definitely going to make their way to where they could be of the most use and were in most need. This is not our reality. We live in a reality where smart people are going to be co-opted, lured, and exploited by profit-generating endeavors continually. We know that people want to be secure and comfortable. You can exploit this. This is human nature. PhDs in quantum mechanics and mathematics and finance from MIT are continually lured to Wall Street to become quantitative analysts with $500,000 starting salaries plus bonus because they want to be secure, they want to be comfortable, they want to have status and esteem. Why wouldn't they? People that are very politically oriented, very good debaters, legally minded from Harvard are lured to Washington, D.C. on a regular basis with the hopes of profiting and getting power, status, connections, and influence. People are lured to Silicon Valley, to California, to Austin, Texas, and other places with the hopes of working for technology companies where they'll make a lot of money and be able to do the things they enjoy doing, work on cool, interesting, cutting-edge things. It's hard to turn down that much money. We want status, security, comfort. We want to be good, and we want to benefit from our abilities and talents. But the rest of the world is not benefited from your genius, from your talent, from your creativity, ingenuity, skill, and capacities. This is all attractive, dangly, shiny lures, sweets, and treats for smart people. But ultimately, I think they're exploiting the primal human nature that we all share. However, when we're draining brain trust and localizing it, concentrating it, consolidating it in just a few industries and sectors and areas of industries, I think we're undermining our ability to solve the variety, the host of nearly countless problems, large and small, that we're dealing with in this world.
Jen, mind if I talk to you a moment? What the fuck are you doing? Can't you see she's not well?
Of course I can see.
Then what are you doing going along with this shit? International forces?
Okay, look. This isn't the first time, okay? She's had episodes. Schizophrenia.
Oh shit.
Anything could happen. She could flip, she could run, she could vanish, and then no one can help her.
All good?
Yes. Thank you.
She's a highly intelligent young woman, and she has various relationship issues. But I wouldn't say she's suffering from either schizophrenia or psychosis, and I don't think she ever has.
So she was lying. It was all an act.
The next point, in my opinion, is the unevolved approach and view of the mind, of mental health in this nation and in this world. We are having it undermined during this pandemic, this notion that we exist in a reality where people care about us in some deep, honest, and truthful way. That is being subverted on a daily basis. We are not concerned with one another in an honest human way. We are mostly mental as human beings, even though we're animals. What makes us different, what makes us mostly us, is the mind, the brain mechanism, consciousness, if we want to go that far. And if we're not well, if we've experienced a calamitous, a severely impactful event, we may have difficulty reorienting ourselves or getting ourselves back into a balanced, healthy state. We may need assistance. However, we don't ask for it. We don't get what we need. We're mostly stigmatized and ridiculed or admonished and looked down upon if we need assistance with the mind. But we don't get that same approach. We don't get that same reaction if we have an injury physically. We're physical beings. We're animals for sure. But as human beings, we're mostly human in a mental sense, consciously. And that means that this is one of the most, if not the most important parts of our experience of existence, of life. If it's not cared for, if it's not taken care of properly, then our lives are diminished necessarily, seemingly, because everything is experienced and known through and in and with the mind ultimately.
The universe is deterministic. It's godless and neutral and defined only by physical laws. The marble rolls because it was pushed. An effect is always the result of a prior cause. The life we lead, with all its apparent chaos, is actually a life on tram lines, undeviating, deterministic. We fall into an illusion of free will because the tram lines are invisible, and we feel so certain about our subjective state, our feelings, our opinions, judgments, decisions. But if we live in a deterministic universe, then those decisions can only have been the result of something prior. Where you were born, how you were brought up, the physical construction of your particular brain.
The box contains everything.
It doesn't contain us.
1 second protection.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
What the fuck, Stuart? The fuck, Stuart? That's messed up. That's messed up.
Switch it off. Switch it off.
I don't know what I am anymore. Something that makes no decisions, has no choices, follows a path it can't see. I'm not even choosing the words I speak now.
No. As the words come, I don't feel as if I'm consciously repeating lines. They're just the things that, at this moment, I feel I want to say. The sense that you were participating in life was only ever an illusion. Life is just something we watch unfold. Like pictures on a screen.
Now, my fifth point takes me to the heart of the show, where it really begins to stretch its legs, and that's in terms of how it undermines or subverts volition, freedom of action, and freedom of will, the realness of it. This reality that we typically inhabit, where we can do what we want, where the movement of my hand, the sound of my voice, the words that I choose are the result of my brain-mind mechanism or my conscious decision-making. This is probably not the case if the Copenhagen or the Everettian many worlds interpretation are any indicator or arbiter of a truthful, fundamental, and essential reality. If we were to directly answer this question without a doubt, unequivocally know whether or not we had free will. If it was the case that we did not, and we could see this illustrated as well as it is in this show, we would be paralyzed, in my opinion. We would go insane almost instantly. So this may be one of the few questions on Earth, if not the only one in human experience and human knowledge and philosophy, that we don't want a direct and perfect answer to.
I switched out to Boybone for the Everett interpretation.
Many worlds.
Still deterministic.
Deterministic because everything that can happen will happen.
It's a waste of time. And it's dangerous. It's not actually Jesus talking, is it? But not our Jesus from our history. It's a Jesus from a history. It will be that difference, and 3 hairs difference, and 4, and 1,000. And all points in between and either side. Lyndon introduced the multiverse into DEVS.
He used exceptionally beautiful mathematics.
To make near infinite variations on our history. A version of our world where you're seated an inch to the left or an inch to the right.
It works.
It does not work! If it's not our Jesus, it's not my Amaya. And does every hair on her head matter? It does.
Now, beyond freedom of will, beyond the fact that we're a slave to this quantum mechanical unfolding universe, beyond the fact that we're just hallucinating volition and choice and options, beyond the fact that we're not even passengers in this life. We can't change the radio station. We can't grab the wheel or exit the vehicle even if we want it. Beyond this reality subverting, plausible truth of our existence, there's an equally plausible truth that's maybe equally difficult to accept, and that's the fact that we live in a multiverse. We may live in an infinite multiverse, according to the Everettian interpretation of quantum mechanics. This is difficult to accept because exclusivity is what we default to in terms of realness and importance, and that's what Forrest was having a difficult time accepting. The thing that's real to us is the thing that we know most intimately and directly, what we experience truthfully, and everything else that's experienced, known to a lesser degree, is less real. For Forrest, the reality that he experienced is real to him, and any other version of the multiverse that he would experience once he's created this simulation in this quantum computer of this entire physical cosmos, whatever daughter he chooses to experience will be real to him in that sense. It's the thing that we're experiencing directly, personally, and truthfully and intimately. If it's this universe, if it's this branch of the multiverse, then the other branches that we're not experiencing currently are less true to us, less real, even if we know that they exist. If we exit this branch of the multiverse and enter another one, then this one becomes less real because it's not the one that we're experiencing directly. We don't even know for sure, for certain, that it's still an existing phenomena. So what we experience most directly, most closely, and know most intimately is the truest, realest thing to us. The truth beyond that is unimportant. It's irrelevant, because what we're here for, what we're doing, what we're about is the experience of existence, not the denial and the rejection of an existence that does not match up or fit or congrue with what we've held prior and previously as truth, as acceptable.
Why don't I feel good about it?
That would be your unconscious mind speaking to you. And what it's saying is, uh-oh. Because a few hours ago, we were in reality and we were working on a sim. And now we've pretty much traded. It's not even a clone of reality. The box contains everything. The box contains us. The box contains everything. And inside the box, there's another box. Ad infinitum, ad nauseum. Uh-oh.
Katie, where am I? I'm in the system. I remember everything. Then it is DEVS.
It is DEVS. Within itself, the system is all-knowing and all-powerful, but only on Lyndon's principle.
All right, fuck it.
And what is this?
We're in the system. Resurrection.
We're in DEVS,
We're in DEVS.
in the simulation.
See it as an afterlife. Paradise. In this variation, anyway.
Do they know?
No one knows. Just you and me. That's the cross we have to bear. We are now living in many worlds.
Lily, having been inserted into this multiversal simulation, this quantum mechanical replication of our physical universe, our physical multiverse, is going to struggle because Force seeded her, granted her the knowledge and all of the memories that she had in the natural physical world, at least the world we believe to be natural and physical. She carries this knowledge of her simulated existence and reality into the simulation, and it's going to be very difficult, in my opinion, for her to maintain realness, to accept and not subvert or undermine the realness of her in her experience as an individual human being. I say that she should accept it. I say that she should say, I'm real. No, I'm not made of particles. I'm made of a superposition of quantum bits, of electrons, of photons or qubits. I'm made of information purely and solely. So whether that information is encoded in matter or in qubits, in ones and zeros, in binary code, it doesn't matter, because all we're concerned with, in my opinion, ultimately, is the experience that we're having. So what we are is a pattern, a roughly congruent, a roughly consistent experience in a roughly consistent form that evolves over time. That's what I call personal identity, and I think that would allow us to hold and maintain realness no matter what we come across. I think this is something to ponder, something to wrap our mind around, something to chew on. What we want to know. What we want to know if we were in a simulated reality. How would that knowledge affect the way we approached and went through life? Would we feel apathetic? Would we feel disconnected, uninterested, disinterested, uninvolved in this world? Would it not matter to us? I don't think so. Because after a while, what we experience is our reality, truthfully. What we experience is what we know, and that becomes real to us, especially if everyone else is experiencing roughly the same thing. Then we can agree upon a roughly loose interpretation of an objective reality, and it doesn't matter what the ultimate constitution of that reality is, because that's beyond us anyway. It could be quantum mechanical, but it could also be something far deeper, something far beyond our ability to know and comprehend. I don't think life and our approach to it should be contingent upon anything. I think we should accept everything that comes as a gift. The ability to experience in this universe, in this implausibly complex yet implausibly simple universe, is a miracle. It's magical. It's fantastical. And I think that's how we should approach, interpret, and deal with these phenomena, with these questions, with these challenges to our normal conception of what's real. Forrest became healthy and whole, in my opinion. He became sane. He accepted his situation, his condition, instead of denying what transpired, what actually happened, what was real. He learned to accept what is, and that is there's a billion versions, a quadrillion, an infinite number of versions of your daughter. Pick one, enjoy that, and move on with your life, or don't and end. These are options, these are availabilities, these are possibilities and potentialities that he had to entertain and accept. And at the end, I think he made the right choice.
So existing inside the DEVS simulation feels exactly like existing in reality.
It would be indistinguishable. Effectively, the simulation and reality are identical.
Outside of the people who directly work here, who else knows about this?
No one. I just need you to help me. To keep it switched on.
On the surface, it looks like Forrest and Lily are going to have the most difficult time moving forward and accepting their reality because they're aware of a prior organic existence, and now they know that they're definitely in an inorganic computational reality thanks to Forrest seeding their organic memories into the simulation. In a sense, they are enlightened. They understand now, in my opinion, what the point of life may be, and that's to just experience life itself. Not to experience life of a particular variety or type, but simply to experience life as it is, unlike Forrest and Lily, who can accept their new reality because they've had a transitionary period from one to another. They can now accept this new reality on its terms and leave the old one behind. Katie is still stuck in the same reality with the knowledge that the future is determined. She must go on alone, without Forrest, with no one to console her, no one to comfort her. She doesn't have a Lily or Forrest to run to say, hey, you know how things really are. You know what's really the deal. You know what's really happening, and let's at least be with each other in knowledge of this truth that everyone else is ignorant to.
We are now living in many worlds. In this world, the two of us get to live in paradise with the ones we love. In other worlds, it will be closer to hell. For those other harder lives we have to lead. I thought knowledge would be a comfort. I don't know if that's right, but it was the choice I made. Just thought I'd exercise a little free will.
I can't recommend the show enough. It's incredibly philosophical, metaphysical. It's incredibly scientific. It's incredibly thoughtful, intellectual, transcendental, or spiritual, if you want to go that far, in terms of the subject matter that it addresses and the way that it questions and tackles these issues and concerns. I can't recommend it enough. It's 8 episodes, but it's a self-contained body of work. It does not need another season. I don't really necessarily want to see one. That's how good I think it is. Let this be. From the very beginning to the very end, it all fits together. It's all important. There's not a lot of waste. There is just an intricate puzzle that does not necessarily get filled in until the last episode. So you're left wondering and questioning a lot. But retroactively, from the last scene, once you see it, it all starts to make even more sense, and it continues to get better the more you think about it. The only thing that I can say is a knock. I wouldn't call it a knock. I call it an essential quality or characteristic or trait of the show is the seeming lack of emotion from some of the characters. But once you understand why they're lacking emotion, what they've been through, how they're seeing things, what they're dealing with, then it makes a lot more sense. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like and subscribe to let me know. If you want to see more, then that would be a good thing to do. And I will see you on the next one. So you have a great day. Take care. Later.